Okay, how many AI agents will there be? You know, this is a hard question to answer, but let's take a stab at it. So when we think about categories of agents, we think of company agents. We think of personal agents. And then we think of agents kind of built into SaaS and products. And what's interesting here is when we think about traditional identity, there's kind of a cap to how many identities you have in a business. So you have your employees, you might have some contractors, you might have some interns over the summer, but there's a couple of things here. One, the average life cycle of a human identity is still measured generally in years. So all of your systems are built around that life cycle. Two, there's just not that many. Three, the more the rest of your company grows, you get more headcount to manage the systems generally. So there's like a scaling function that kind of works there. When we think about AI, though, a lot of these things are going to break. So let's go back to this how many question. For the company, these are going to be cheaper than human. And maybe every department, every group, every team has their own agent. So I tend to think of this one as like 1 to 2x the number of employees. Then we talk about personal agents. These agents are personal productivity agents. They help people in your organization complete tasks. The thing is, there's a big open question here of how ephemeral will those be and how much task-based authorization will it end up doing. But if you think about how many emails does a person send per day, how many pull requests does a software developer make, how many tasks is an employee completing in a given day, I think it's easy to see worlds where you have potentially hundreds of these per year per employee. And then let's talk about agents built into SaaS products. So these agents are going to be doing autonomous work on behalf of your business. Some SaaS companies, I think, will end up adopting kind of a multi-agent architecture. But fundamentally, they're going to be kind of bound to the number of products your company is consuming and understanding the integration matrix between different SaaS products. So how does your Salesforce need to talk to your Snowflake, and what data needs to move between them, and what agents need to talk back and forth? So in that context, I think you'll probably have a 2 to 5x of products. So what does it all mean, though? What this means is, from an identity management perspective, you're going to have, 1,000-person company with, 200 SaaS products. We're going to have 2,000 AI identities just from people working for the company. So when we move to personal productivity agents, you think about every day your employee are doing tasks. So the 100x multiplier across employees. So that's 100,000 identities a year. And then we think about SaaS products, which you're going to be talking back and forth to each other. And we'll need a lot of configuration and management and understanding the data flows. You're still talking about, another 500 plus agent identities. So here's what's interesting. You go from a company that say only had 1,000 employees and 200 applications, very manageable size. And you're looking at identity counts, well over 100,000, where the systems that were built to support this aren't there. The level of automation you need to allow 100,000 identities in your system are just completely different scale than when you have 1,000 employees. And so that's one of the reasons I think when you think about AI, it's not so much that, it's different and there's all these other challenges. It's actually a scale problem where the ability for systems to handle this scale will be one of the critical problems that I think IT departments are facing in managing AI identity.